History is filled with tales of powerful rulers, epic battles, and grand dynasties. But what happens when a queen, born to immense power and privilege, chooses to vanish from it all? What if she orchestrated the most audacious deception in royal history, faking her own death? Today, we unravel the enigmatic story of a queen who may have traded her crown for a life in the shadows. We're talking about Juana of Castile, a woman caught in a web of love, betrayal, and immense political pressure. The question at the heart of her story isn't just if she faked her own death, but why she might have been driven to such a desperate act. Juana was born in 1479 to the legendary Queen Isabella I of Castile and King Ferdinand II of Aragon, the very monarchs who financed Christopher Columbus's voyage to the Americas. She was intelligent, beautiful, and a key piece in the great game of European royal politics. Her life took a dramatic turn when she was married off to Philip the Handsome, the Duke of Burgundy. Theirs was a passionate and tempestuous relationship. While they had several children, Philip's constant infidelity and political ambitions cast a dark shadow over their marriage. Juana's well-documented, public displays of jealousy and distress would become the seeds of a narrative that would haunt her for centuries. When her mother, Queen Isabella, died in 1504, Juana became Queen of Castile, a vast and wealthy kingdom. However, her estranged husband, Philip, and her own father, Ferdinand, were hungry for her power. They began a systematic campaign to declare her mentally unstable, calling her Juana la Loca, or Juana the Mad. Was she truly mad, or was this a convenient excuse to sideline a powerful woman and usurp her authority? In 1506, Philip the Handsome died suddenly, rumored to have been poisoned. Juana's grief was profound and theatrical. She famously traveled with his coffin for months, refusing to be separated from his body. This act, more than any other, cemented her reputation for insanity in the eyes of her contemporaries and for much of history. Her father, Ferdinand, seized the opportunity. He had her confined to the royal convent of Santa Clara in Tordesillas, a gilded cage where she would remain for the rest of her long life. He ruled as her regent, and after his death, her own son, Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor, continued her imprisonment. For 46 years, Juana was a queen in name only, a prisoner of her own family. She was officially declared to have died in the convent in 1555. But what if the story doesn't end there? Over the centuries, tantalizing clues have emerged that suggests Juana may have orchestrated a final, brilliant act of defiance. Some historians have pointed to inconsistencies in the official accounts of her death. There are whispers of a secret escape, of a queen who lived out her final years in anonymity, free from the clutches of her ambitious family. Could the woman who was so publicly devastated by her husband's death have been a master manipulator, using her grief as a cover for an elaborate escape plan? Could the Mad Queen have been the sanest one of them all, choosing a life of obscurity over a crown that had brought her nothing but misery? While the official historical record states that Juana of Castile died in confinement, the legend of her faked death endures. It speaks to our fascination with the idea that even the most powerful people can yearn for a different life, and that sometimes the greatest act of power is to simply disappear. So, what do you believe? Was Juana of Castile a tragic victim of political ambition, a woman driven to madness by love and loss? Or was she a brilliant strategist who played the long game and, in the end, won her freedom in the most unconventional way imaginable? You think you know the stories of queens and castles? Think again. This isn't a fairy tale. This is the story of a queen who played the world for a fool and vanished into thin air. Meet Juana of Castile, born into the most powerful family in Spain, daughter of the famous Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. She had it all: royalty, intelligence, and a future as queen. Her life was a movie waiting to happen. At 16, she was sent off to marry Philip the Handsome, a man whose name, it turns out, was more of a promise than a reality. Their love was a roller coaster of passion and obsession. But Philip was a cheater, and Juana's jealousy became legendary. Then, the unthinkable happened. Her mother died, making Juana the Queen of Castile, a kingdom rich with the spoils of the New World. But here's the twist. The two men who were supposed to protect her, her husband and her own father, wanted her power, and they would stop at nothing to get it. They started a smear campaign, branding her with a nickname that would stick for centuries: Juana la Loca, Juana the Mad. They claimed she was too unstable, too emotional, to rule. A classic case of gaslighting, 16th century style. So, they locked her away in a castle, ruling in her name. But was she really mad? Or was it all a brilliant, twisted plan? In 1506, her husband, Philip, dropped dead. The official story: a sudden illness, but many whisper it was poison. Juana's reaction was ... unconventional. She refused to leave his coffin, traveling with his body for months. The world saw a woman unhinged by grief. But what if they were seeing a genius at work? This public spectacle of mourning was the perfect cover. While everyone was watching the mad queen and her dead husband, was she secretly plotting her escape? Officially, Juana was declared dead in 1555, after decades of imprisonment. A funeral was held, and the world mourned the tragic queen. But then, the rumors started. Whispers of a woman matching her description seen in a remote village. Letters, supposedly in her handwriting, appearing years after her death. Servants swearing they saw her in disguise. In an age without cameras or social media, disappearing was possible, even for a queen. And she had every reason to want to vanish. Some say she lived for another 20 years, hidden and protected by those loyal to her, finally free from the gilded cage she was born into. So, what's the truth? Was Juana a pawn in a Game of Thrones, a victim of her own heart? Or was she the ultimate puppet master, faking her own death to escape a life that had become a prison? The history books have their official story, but the legend of the queen who vanished tells a different tale. A story of a woman who may have sacrificed her crown, her name, and her place in history for the one thing she truly craved: freedom.